Hello everybody. It's all my pleasure to meet you again in this series of e-learning lectures, aimed at developing your knowledge and skills in the area of ESP, English for specific purposes. This is lecture number 9. Teaching materials for ESP courses. By the end of this lecture, learners will be able to define the materials design in ESP context. List aspects in ESP materials design. Determine the purpose of materials design in ESP. But, before we move forwards, if you have not been here before, then, welcome to UNIV-ENGLISH channel. If you do like videos like this, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. And also smash the notification bell to receive notifications of when I produce more videos like this. So, let's begin with this pivotal question. What do you know about materials design in ESP context? Introduction. ESP courses are characterized by material development. Teachers and practitioners try to develop materials that fit specific subject areas and cater to align with students' specific needs. Bass Turkman and Bocanegra Valley, 2018, point out that ESP teachers often create their own educational materials since course books and other materials tend to not be designed for their specialized learners. Authentic materials may be developed from scratch or adapted from existing learning materials. They are referred to as in-house materials, tailor-made materials, locally produced materials, self-designed materials, internal materials, homemade materials or homegrown materials. ESP course materials are reviewed, evaluated, and selected according to different criteria relevant to the course's objectives. Definition of materials design in ESP. Tomlinson, 1998, 11, states that materials in language teaching include anything which is used to help to teach language learners. Materials can be found in the form of a textbook, a workbook, a cassette, a CD-ROM, a video, a photocopied handout, a newspaper, a paragraph written on a whiteboard, anything which presents or informs about the language being learned. Key aspects in ESP materials design. When creating materials for ESP classrooms, it is important to take into consideration a number of factors such as the learning needs, language content, and subject matter content. Bocanegra Valley, 2010, highlights the importance of materials in ESP courses as they play a crucial role in providing students with direct exposure to the language of a particular discipline as used in practice. Tomlinson, 1998. Tomlinson, 1998, presents the following key principles and beliefs relating to the development of materials. Written materials should be tailored to meet the needs of a specific group of students. Sometimes, it can be difficult for teachers to stick rigidly to a prescribed curriculum depending on context. Teachers tend to modify, supplement, or alter and write their own materials. Teachers have the most intimate knowledge and understanding of their students. Accordingly, they become content writers and researchers by sensitivity and responsiveness to the needs, objectives, difficulties, and preferred learning styles of their students. Material writers need basic training or knowledge of materials. Every teacher should be trained on how to write effective teaching materials. To ensure the success of any material, testing and evaluation are crucial. Users of materials are expected to give feedback and students' opinions should be taken seriously. Barnard and Zemoc, 2003. Barnard and Zemoc, 2003, claim that ESP materials must take into account the following factors: teachers' experience and knowledge about the ESP speciality, creating teaching materials according to the guidelines outlined in the course syllabus, providing materials that can be modified by the teacher according to their preferences, providing resources and tools to help teachers with low experience develop and use materials. Hutchinson and Waters, 1987. Hutchinson and Waters, 1987, started from the assumption that learning materials should stimulate learners. They claim that, good materials do not teach, they encourage learners to learn. Page 107, As a result, good materials should contain interesting texts, enjoyable activities which engage the learner's thinking capacities, opportunities for learners to use their existing knowledge and skills, content which both learners and teacher can cope with. Page 107. Accordingly, the following main principles should be observed when writing materials. It is strongly recommended that materials should be organized in a way that facilitates the learning and teaching process by offering teachers guidance in planning lessons and ensuring students understand what they have been learning. Language and language learning materials should reflect the perspective of the author. Teaching materials should enable teachers to learn new teaching techniques. Modeling proper and appropriate language used to facilitate the teaching-learning process. Sequence of ESP materials production. ESP teachers often begin the process of writing materials by identifying the learner's needs and then using those materials in the classroom. According to Tomlinson, 1998, the process of materials writing follows the following 5 steps. The act of identifying a need in order to create materials to solve a problem. An analysis of the issue in terms of language, meaning, functions, skills, etc. Contextualization of the new materials through the identification of suitable ideas, contexts, or texts. Creation of teaching materials based upon the development of appropriate exercises and activities, and the writing of instruction manuals. Production of material involving layout, type, size, visuals, reproduction and tape length, among others. The purpose of materials design in ESP. Studies have given considerable attention to materials as a crucial aspect of the ESP teaching-learning process. It is important to consider the design of ESP materials as part of the process of stimulating and supporting language instruction. Hyland, 2006, 89, claims that materials serve as the interface between teaching and learning, or the points at which the course needs, objectives and syllabuses are made tangible to both learners and teachers. ESP materials aim to expose students to real language situations as they are used in a variety of professional and academic settings. Accordingly, they should be closely related to the student's target needs. As a result, learners are provided with materials meant to support their developing capability to read and comprehend a wide range of texts and to engage them in thinking and using the language. The use of well-designed materials offers learners the opportunity to study a range of language samples that do not follow a rigid format, but instead, provide an opportunity to discuss, write, analyze, and manipulate salient language structures and vocabulary. ESP Materials Development. Developing ESP classroom materials is a challenging endeavor. Language content, learning needs, and subject matter content are interconnected. This calls for an examination of the following issues. The target topic of ESP content. The importance of the topic for a particular group of students. ESP teaches knowledge of the content. The student's expected knowledge about the subject content. Materials that reflect the language or conventions of the discipline. Learning objectives. Form, function, or skill of the target language. Material that is suitable, accessible and available. Teaching equipment requirements. The time frame for designing, developing, and implementing activities. Authenticity of ESP teaching materials. The term authentic has been used to describe language samples such as oral or written samples of natively used language that reflect the culture and the situational context appropriately. Rogers and Medley, 1988. ESP teachers should keep in mind that authenticity cannot be achieved if learners fail to respond to texts as native speakers would in real situations or if authentic tasks are not used in accordance with the field of study. Velasquez and Redmond, 2007, suggest that teachers should pay attention to what can be done with authentic materials instead of making materials authentic. Text authenticity is not the only aspect of authenticity but also encompasses a variety of facets. It includes Authenticity of competence refers to the learner's ability to align closely with that of native speakers. Learner authenticity reflects the interaction of the language user, the communicative context of the text sample, and the text sample itself. Authenticity of classroom refers to creating conditions that enhance learning quality. Conclusion. In the ESP context, materials development must consider assessing students' needs and learning objectives, identifying language skills and teaching approaches, designing adequate activities to use and testing the draft materials. Generally, existing materials can be repurposed, but it should be kept in mind that many students feel they get the best value from materials that are tailored to their needs. Nevertheless, it is wise to be aware that materials that are appropriate for a given ESP course may not prove to be so effective in a similar ESP course. Rubdi, 2003, stresses that language learning materials should provide students with a variety of activities and topics to facilitate language acquisition. This will also help the teacher to avoid the boredom of repetition.